Stop living for the approval of people who never think about you when they close their eyes at night. The world is overflowing with noise. Everyone talks, few take action, and almost none truly think. The strength you desire, the success you envision, begins the moment you make the choice to think independently. Every empire was created by someone who refused to let the world define their value. Thinking about yourself is not arrogance, it's awareness. It's the understanding that no one else will walk your road, fight your battles, or sacrifice for your dreams. If you don't prioritize your own vision, you'll end up spending your life building someone else's. You were not made to blend in. You were born to create, and that creation begins within your own mind. Discipline your thoughts like a warrior sharpens his sword. Protect your mental space fiercely. When doubts arise, and they always will, silence them with purpose. Each time you say, "I can," you fortify the structure of your destiny. The universe yields to those who are clear about their desires and think about them with unwavering focus. Stop seeking validation. Stop justifying your vision to small-minded people. Focus on your growth, your mission, your discipline. Let others gossip while you evolve. Let them rest while you rise. The world will constantly try to divert your attention. Do not let it. Think about yourself not because you are selfish, but because only you are responsible for your greatness. Your peace, your success, your destiny all rely on one thing, the strength of your focused mind. So guard it, sharpen it, and direct it toward your dream. Every moment you spend thinking about others is a moment stolen from your destiny. Hebley, always think for yourself, because the instant you begin to think independently, the world begins to take notice. The world honors original thinkers, not followers of the crowd. Every individual who changed history, built wealth, or shaped the world began by standing alone. They refused to be another echo in the noise of the majority. They dared to think differently, to question the limits placed upon them, to believe their ideas could design new realities. That is the cost of greatness, the bravery to think your own thoughts when the world demands conformity. Rue, look around. Most people exist as reflections of others. They mimic trends, absorb opinions, and repeat words they've never examined for truth. They wait for permission to act, for validation to dream, for someone else to tell them who they are, and then they wonder why they feel lost. The truth is clear. If you do not think for yourself, someone else will do it for you. And once others think for you, they own your direction. A brokery, your mind is your most powerful weapon, but only if you use it freely. The ordinary mind wastes its power by comparing, judging, and competing. Meanwhile, the self-thinker uses every thought to master themselves. They wake up asking, "How can I improve today?" Not, "What will others think of me?" They don't chase attention. They draw it naturally through their progress. They never beg for respect. They earn it through unwavering discipline. Thinking for yourself means questioning everything, especially the lies and excuses you tell yourself. It means asking the difficult questions. Why am I doing this? Is this truly what I desire? Am I pursuing my dream or living under someone else's expectations? These questions may burn, but they bring clarity. And clarity is true power. Once you understand your purpose, no opinion can shake you, no failure can defeat you, and no distraction can pull you from your path. You must realize this truth. The world is designed to keep you distracted. Society thrives on your conformity. It wants you scrolling, doubting, consuming, never creating. It feeds your fears so that you never take action, and it rewards mediocrity so you never rise above it. But you were never meant to be average. You were not created to follow. You were made to think, to lead, to elevate, to build something that bears your signature. That transformation begins the moment you start trusting your inner voice more than the noise around you. Hebrew, when you begin to think independently, you stop following and start creating. You stop chasing and begin attracting. The world bends toward those who move with conviction. Confidence is magnetic, but it only comes when you truly know who you are and what you stand for. Every time you let others make decisions for you, you weaken your spirit. But each time you choose your own direction, even when it terrifies you, your inner strength multiplies. Most people fear being alone, but solitude is the birthplace of all true power. The crowd gives you comfort, but silence gives you truth. When you are alone, you meet your real self, your doubts, your dreams, your strength. Sit quietly with your thoughts. Listen to the voice within that whispers what you've been ignoring. That voice is your inner compass. The more you trust it, the more unstoppable you become. Ibra, thinking about yourself is not selfish. It is self-respect. You owe it to your potential to focus on your evolution. You owe it to your dreams to stay faithful to your own path. You cannot lift the world if you are lost within yourself. You cannot inspire others if you are exhausted from pleasing everyone. The strongest people are those who put their mind first, who protect their peace, guard their focus, and dedicate every ounce of energy to becoming who they were destined to be. Train your mind like a warrior sharpens his blade. Every negative thought, every doubt, every fear, cut it down before it commands you. The battles of life are first won in the mind before they are ever fought in the world. When your thoughts are powerful, your actions align. When your belief is unshakable, success becomes inevitable. You don't rise through luck or chance, you rise through mindset. So think big, think boldly, and think differently. Let others gossip while you work. Let them sleep while you study. Let them doubt while you build. One day, they'll ask how you did it, and you'll simply tell them, I stopped thinking like everyone else. That's the truth. The world doesn't need another imitation. It needs one original. Ebrook, your time is far too valuable to waste on empty opinions. Your energy is too sacred to give to people who've built nothing. Focus on yourself, your vision, your mission, your path. Every second you spend improving yourself compounds into greatness. Each day, you choose growth over gossip and purpose over popularity. You set yourself apart from the crowd. The world rewards independent thinkers because they are rare. They create industries, shape cultures, and leave legacies that endure. They are the reason progress exists. If you want to be one of them, begin now, not later. Question everything. Trust your instincts. Make your mind your greatest weapon. Protect your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Think for yourself, act for yourself, build for yourself, because the moment you do, the world begins to notice. The same people who once dismissed you will ask for your guidance. The same ones who doubted you will call you lucky. But luck had nothing to do with it. It was focus. It was discipline. It was the refusal to live an average life. Abraiso, stand tall, quiet the noise. Guard your vision fiercely. Always think for yourself, because when your thoughts belong to you, your destiny becomes yours as well. The world will try to drag you back into comfort, but greatness only lives beyond it. You were born with a mind capable of building empires. Use it. Abra, the world rewards the self-thinker, not the follower. Don't walk where others have walked. Create your own path, and have the courage to walk it alone. Because that lonely road, the one most people fear, is the one that leads to freedom, victory, and everything you've ever dreamed of. You are your greatest project. Invest in yourself before anything else. Nothing will ever pay greater returns than the time, energy, and effort you pour into your own growth. You are the foundation of everything you will ever create. Your dreams, your success, your relationships, your wealth, it all begins and ends with you. The problem is that most people invest in everything except themselves. They invest in distractions, in opinions, in fleeting pleasures, and then wonder why nothing ever changes. But the truth is simple. If you are not evolving, nothing around you will evolve either. Hebrewy, you must make yourself your highest priority, not out of ego, but out of wisdom. Because when you improve yourself, your mind, your body, your discipline, every other part of your life rises with you. A sharper mind makes stronger choices. A stronger body withstands greater pressure. And a disciplined spirit magnetizes success. Everything begins from within. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot build a powerful life upon a weak foundation. That foundation is you. Think about it. People spend years studying business, careers, and trends, yet rarely take the time to study themselves. They know the cost of everything but the value of nothing. They chase money, validation, and attention while forgetting that the true source of all creation lies within the only permanent asset you will ever possess. I assure you, the more you invest in that inner asset, the more unstoppable you become. When you master your mind, the world can no longer control you. When you govern your emotions, no challenge can destroy you. When you trust your purpose, no failure can break you. Investing in yourself goes beyond gaining education or skills. It's about transformation. It's about reshaping your mindset, upgrading your habits, and protecting your focus. Read the books that challenge your thinking. Learn the skills that intimidate you. Surround yourself with people who push you to higher standards. Every small effort compounds. Every act of discipline strengthens your character. Every hour spent learning expands your capacity. Growth is not a one-time event, it's a lifelong evolution. The moment you stop investing in yourself, your decline quietly begins. Hebrew, stop waiting for opportunities, prepare for them. Opportunities don't visit those who simply wish, they favor those who are ready. The universe always rewards preparation. If you want to have more, you must become more. Success doesn't chase dreamers, it follows those transforming themselves into the kind of person capable of sustaining it. When you build yourself, opportunities will naturally appear. When you increase your value, the world will notice. People don't receive what they want, they receive what they are. You must begin to see yourself as a project under constant development, improving daily, brick by brick. You can't rush the process, but you must never stop the progress. Each day you sharpen your mind, you are building strength. Each time you discipline your emotions, you are building stability. Each time you keep your word, you are building credibility. These invisible investments create visible results over time. You don't need to prove yourself today. You need to build yourself today. The proof will come later. There will be moments when others won't understand your focus. They'll call you obsessed, distant, or selfish. Let them speak. While they seek entertainment, you seek evolution. While they gossip, you grind. While they rest, you rise. That's the difference between the average and the unstoppable. The world is full of people who talk about success, but few who actually become the version of themselves capable of achieving it. You must be among the few. Remember, no one will invest in you if you refuse to invest in yourself first. Don't wait for others to believe in you. Become so exceptional that belief becomes irrelevant. The greatest freedom is self-reliance. The strongest security is self-confidence. Both are forged in the quiet work you do on yourself when no one else is watching. Every time you choose growth over comfort, every time you learn instead of complain, every time you push when giving up feels easier, you deposit power into your future. You are your own business, your own empire. Your mind is the headquarters. Your habits are the employees. Your time is the currency, and where you invest it determines your outcomes. So stop wasting time on things that don't build you. Don't invest in drama, negativity, or self-doubt. Don't let laziness bankrupt your potential. Use your time as capital, because every minute either increases your value or drains it. Choose wisely. E-blogger, self-investment is never easy. It requires sacrifice, solitude, and patience, but that is the cost of greatness. Most people quit because they crave instant rewards. They want recognition before results, comfort before consistency, and success before effort. But life doesn't work that way. You must first become the kind of person worthy of success. Only then does it come to you. Build your character before you build your career. Strengthen your mind before you chase money. Because without the right mindset, every achievement will crumble under pressure. You are the only person you will live with every moment of your life, and that's why the relationship you have with yourself defines everything else. Speak to yourself as someone you are building, not breaking. Push yourself, but believe in yourself just as fiercely. Set higher standards. Never settle for what's easy. Demand what's excellent. Your life will rise or fall in proportion to how much you believe you're worth investing in. So, make yourself the priority. Wake up with purpose. Read when others scroll. Train when others quit. Focus when others drift. Every act of self-improvement is a rebellion against mediocrity. The crowd will always chase distraction. You must choose discipline. You owe the world nothing, but you owe yourself everything. You are your greatest project, and that project is never complete. Each day is another opportunity to build a stronger version of yourself. Every decision, every choice, every action either strengthens or weakens you. So guard your focus, protect your peace, and invest in your growth. Because the most valuable thing you can ever own is not a car, a home, or a title. It's a powerful, disciplined, unstoppable version of you. Ibra, when you invest in yourself, the rewards never end. Confidence grows, wisdom deepens, vision sharpens. And one day you'll look back and realize that everything you dreamed of became real, not because the world changed, but because you did. So, begin now. Build yourself. Sharpen your mind. Master your craft. The world might not notice your progress today, but one day it will be impossible to ignore. You are your greatest project. Invest in yourself first, and eventually the world will invest in you. Self-belief is the root of every success story. Every empire, every invention, every great achievement that transformed the world began with one invisible seed belief. Before the money, before the fame, before the results, there was conviction. Someone somewhere chose to believe when no one else did. That decision, that unwavering belief in yourself is what separates the dreamers from the achievers. You can possess all the talent in the world, but without belief, it remains dormant. You can have every resource available, but without confidence, you'll never take the first step. Self-belief is not merely a mindset. It is the fuel, the foundation, and the fire that drives all greatness. Most people fail long before they even begin. Not because they lack ability, but because they lack belief. They are defeated in their minds before the battle ever starts. They question their worth, doubt their potential, and surrender to fear. They wait for approval, for signs, for guarantees, and in that waiting, they lose years. But the truth is simple. No one will believe in you until you prove that you believe in yourself. The world is a mirror that reflects your energy. If you project doubt, you invite hesitation. If you project confidence, you attract opportunity. A Hill, belief is not arrogance. It is quiet strength. It doesn't shout, it acts. It doesn't wait for perfect timing. It creates its own. It doesn't ask for permission. It grants itself authority. The moment you fully believe in yourself, everything begins to shift. Your thoughts become sharper. Your energy elevates. Your vision becomes clearer. You stop viewing obstacles as barriers and start recognizing them as tests of strength. The universe bends for those who refuse to doubt their destiny. Hebrew self-belief is not built overnight. It's shaped through struggle, persistence, and resilience. Every time you fall and rise again, you build another layer of belief. Every challenge you overcome becomes proof that you are stronger than your fears. Every small victory reminds you that you are capable. Self-belief grows when you stop letting failure define you and start allowing it to refine you. The pain you experience is not punishment, it is preparation. Each scar is evidence of growth. Each setback is a lesson in power. You must learn to trust yourself even when no one else does. When people doubt your vision, when circumstances appear impossible, when fear whispers that you can't, that's when belief matters most. Anyone can have faith when things are easy. True strength is believing when nothing makes sense, when everything feels dark, and still choosing to move forward. That kind of faith transforms ordinary individuals into legends. Hebrew, stop waiting for someone to rescue you. Stop expecting others to inspire you. The power you're searching for is already within you. You don't need permission to rise. You don't need validation to begin. Every successful person you look up to started with doubt, fear, and uncertainty, but they acted anyway. They moved in faith, and that faith built the path beneath their feet. Action creates confidence. Hesitation destroys it. You strengthen belief by doing what you once thought you couldn't. Ibra, self-belief isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about trusting that you can handle whatever isn't. It's standing in the storm and saying, I'll survive this too. It's facing failure and still knowing deep down, I'm not finished yet. Every time you keep moving forward when quitting feels easier, you strengthen the roots of your belief. The deeper those roots grow, the higher you will rise. People will doubt you. They will laugh, criticize, and underestimate you. Let them. Their disbelief is your fuel. Prove them wrong, not with words, but with undeniable results. Success is the loudest response you can give. But remember, you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you, for the version of yourself that once thought it couldn't be done. Nothing feels more powerful than transforming your doubts into triumphs. Ibrookie, your mind is the true battlefield. The enemy is not your competition. It's the voice within that whispers you're not enough. Silence it. Replace it with conviction. Train your thoughts like a warrior masters his weapon. Every time fear speaks, counter it with action. Every time doubt surfaces, answer it with effort. The mind becomes what it hears most often. Tell yourself you are capable until it becomes your reality. And once belief takes hold, nothing can stop you. Hebrew, belief reshapes behavior. When you believe in your ability, you prepare differently, work differently, and persist far longer. That's why belief always comes before success. You can never outperform the image you hold of yourself. If you see yourself as average, you will live an average life. But if you see yourself as capable, you will exceed every expectation. Life rewards those who demand more, not out of ego, but out of certainty. Because you are what you believe you are. If you think you're weak, you'll act weak. If you think you're unstoppable, you'll act unstoppable. It's not about pretending, it's about choosing. Every single day, you decide which story to believe, the one written by fear or the one written by faith. Both stories exist within you. One limits you, the other liberates you. So believe in yourself as if your life depends on it, because it truly does. Believe in your vision when no one claps. Believe in your grind when no one watches. Believe in your dream even when it looks impossible. That belief will drive you when motivation fades. It will focus you when progress feels slow. It will sustain you when the world grows silent. One day, the same people who doubted you will share your story as proof of what's possible. They'll say you were lucky, but you'll know the truth. It wasn't luck, it was belief. It was the decision to continue when fear said stop. It was the refusal to surrender when everything seemed lost. It was the unshakable conviction that you were destined for more. Ibrookie, self-belief is not optional. It is essential. Without it, talent fades, dreams die, and potential remains unrealized. But with it, even the impossible becomes achievable. So guard it, nurture it, strengthen it every single day. Because no matter how far you rise, how much you accomplish, or how many people stand beside you, one truth will always endure. Your belief in yourself will forever be the foundation of your success. Everything begins and ends with belief. Believe, act, persist, and eventually, the world will have no choice but to believe in you too. Most people spend their lives thinking about others. Champions think for themselves. That single distinction is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. The world is filled with people who watch, compare, criticize, and gossip about others. But the few who rise, who lead, who dominate, are those who turn their focus inward. They form their own thoughts, shape their own opinions, and walk their own path. Champions don't waste time wondering why others are winning. They're too busy creating their own victories. The reason most people never reach their true potential is simple. Their attention is scattered everywhere, except where it belongs. They care too much about what others are doing, how others are living, and what others might think of them. They scroll through other people's lives while ignoring their own. They compete in imaginary battles, trying to prove something to people who aren't even watching. That's why they remain stuck, because their minds are filled with noise, not progress. Hebrew, a champion's mind is wired differently. They don't think in terms of comparison. They think in terms of creation, building themselves, refining their skills, and mastering their mindset. They don't envy success. They study it, learn from it, and return to their grind with greater precision. They know that every ounce of energy wasted thinking about others is energy stolen from their purpose, and they protect that purpose with discipline. Hebrew. Most people obsess over others because it's easier than confronting themselves. It's easier to point out another's flaws than to face your own. It's easier to criticize success than to create it. It's easier to complain than to overcome. But champions live by a higher standard. They take full responsibility. They don't search outward for answers, they look inward for power. They understand that the only person capable of changing their life is the one reflected in the mirror. You must train your mind to think this way. You must silence the noise, disconnect from comparison, and direct every bit of focus toward your own evolution. Every minute spent worrying about someone else's journey pulls you further from your own. Champions don't run other people's races, they run their own. They don't crave approval, they pursue progress. They don't chase attention, they chase mastery. Their focus is sacred, and they guard it as their greatest treasure. Thinking for yourself means daring to stand apart. It means having the courage to make decisions others won't understand. It means trusting your instincts even when the world disagrees. Most people follow trends. Champions create them. Most people wait for someone to tell them what's possible. Champions decide what's possible. When you learn to think for yourself, you stop being a product of your environment and start becoming the architect of your destiny. But make no mistake, thinking for yourself requires true strength. It means being misunderstood. It means standing alone at times. It means being labeled stubborn, arrogant, or even insane. Every great thinker in history was criticized before they were celebrated. The crowd will always resist the one who dares to walk alone. That is the price of leadership. Champions pay that price willingly because they understand something most people never grasp: you cannot stand out by fitting in. You must reach a stage where your own approval holds more weight than anyone else's opinion. When you learn to think for yourself, you realize that opinions don't create success, actions do. You stop explaining your vision and start bringing it to life. You stop needing validation and start building confidence through your own results. Every decision made from self-trust strengthens your identity. Every time you listen to your intuition, you reinforce your independence. Hebrew, the truth is that most people are addicted to distraction. They fear silence because silence forces them to confront their own thoughts. They fear solitude because solitude reveals who they truly are. But champions embrace both. They sit alone with their thoughts. They reflect on their failures. They listen to their intuition. That's where clarity is born, not in the noise, but in the stillness. Champions don't avoid self-reflection, they live in it. They understand that real success doesn't come from imitating others, it comes from mastering oneself. If you want to rise, you must stop obsessing over what others are doing and start asking yourself, what am I doing with my life? What am I building? Who am I becoming? These are the questions that create transformation. The moment you shift your focus inward, everything begins to change. You start recognizing your weaknesses and improving them. You start identifying your strengths and refining them. You start valuing your time and guarding it fiercely. That's when real growth begins. The crowd will always try to pull you back. They'll say you're too focused, too distant, too self-absorbed. Ignore them. The same people who criticize your focus today will one day call you lucky. Let them talk. Let them waste time thinking about you while you spend your time thinking for yourself. The difference between you and them is simple. While they're busy talking, you're busy doing. Champions understand something the crowd forgets. Success isn't about proving yourself to others. It's about becoming everything you're capable of being. Every moment spent comparing yourself to others weakens your spirit. Every thought wasted on them drains energy from your mission. Your purpose is not to keep up, it's to rise higher. And you rise by staying true to your vision, not by chasing someone else's shadow. February, believe in your own ideas. Trust your own pace. The crowd changes direction with every trend, but champions remain consistent. The crowd fears failure, while champions treat it as feedback. The crowd looks for shortcuts, but champions master the long road. That is what separates greatness from mediocrity, not talent, not luck, but mindset. Ebru, stop thinking about others. Their opinions won't pay your bills. Their validation won't make your dream a reality. Their approval won't bring you peace. What will change your life is your focus, your belief, and your relentless work. Champions understand this truth profoundly, that victory begins in the mind long before it manifests in the world. Most people spend their time thinking about others. Champions think for themselves. Make that your standard. Let the world talk while you quietly build with everything you've got. Heber, the world is deafening. Everywhere you turn, there's noise, people talking, scrolling, arguing, complaining, predicting failure. It's endless. It's engineered to keep you distracted, dependent, and disconnected from your own voice. Because when you can't hear yourself, you lose direction. And when you lose direction, you become easy to control. That's why the first rule of true power is mental protection. What you let in determines what comes out. Garbage in, garbage out. Greatness in, greatness out. Elri, you must master the art of filtering everything that enters your mind. Guard your focus like a soldier guards a fortress. Every word you hear, every image you consume, every conversation you entertain, these are seeds. They either grow weeds or they grow strength. Negativity is poison. It spreads quickly. One seed of doubt can destroy confidence. One toxic voice can silence faith. That's why champions are relentless about what and who they allow into their mental space. Hebra, understand this. Your environment directly shapes your energy. If you live in chaos, you'll feel chaotic. If you surround yourself with pessimism, your dreams will shrink. But if you align with growth, discipline, and vision, you will elevate. Protecting your mind doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world. It means mastering what earns your attention. You can't silence the noise, but you can refuse to let it enter. Ebrook, negativity is often subtle. It hides in the jokes people make about your ambitions, in the news that glorifies fear, in conversations that drain your spirit. Every time you let that negativity pass unchecked, it erodes your belief. Slowly, quietly, it extinguishes your fire. That's why you must defend your mind like a warrior defends his post. When you hear doubt, reject it. When you sense fear, confront it. When you feel drained, withdraw and recharge. You owe it to your destiny to stay mentally unbreakable. Abru, you must train your thoughts to serve you, not sabotage you. Each time your mind drifts toward fear, pull it back to focus. Each time it replays failure, replace it with possibility. That isn't denial, that's mental discipline. The human mind becomes whatever it's consistently fed. Feed it faith, it grows courage. Feed it doubt, it breeds weakness. You are the gatekeeper, and no one else can protect that gate for you. People love to speak about mindset, but few actually defend it. You cannot forge a powerful mind while living in a weak environment. You cannot build confidence while surrounded by complainers. You cannot expect peace while living in constant noise. Protecting your mind means learning to say no to drama, no to negativity, and no to meaningless distractions. Every time you say no to the world, you say yes to your own growth. Hebrew, silence is true power. Disconnect often. Turn down the noise. Spend time alone with your thoughts. That is where clarity is created. That is where vision takes shape. That is where your real voice begins to speak. When the world grows loud, turn inward not to escape, but to recharge. Champions do not fear solitude. They rely on it. They know that the quieter the mind becomes, the clearer their purpose speaks. Ibri, be intentional with what you consume. Every article you read, every video you watch, every conversation you engage in, it all programs your mind. Ask yourself, is this building me up or tearing me down? Is this feeding my focus or feeding my fear? Protect your mental input because it defines your output. If you desire strength, absorb strength. If you want belief, absorb truth. Never let another person's insecurity become your limitation. Negativity will always exist, but it doesn't have to live inside your mind. You can acknowledge it without accepting it. You can hear it without believing it. You can face it without letting it defeat you. Guarding your mind doesn't mean pretending the world is flawless. It means choosing what deserves your energy. Not everything deserves your attention, your time, or your peace. Ebro, remember this: success begins in thought before it ever becomes action. You cannot create greatness with a cluttered, noisy mind. You cannot move mountains if you're buried under the weight of others' opinions. You must be intentional about your thoughts. Each morning, strengthen your mindset. Each night, cleanse it of doubt and distraction. Release the mental clutter that no longer serves your progress. Your mind is your kingdom, and you are its ruler. Guard it fiercely. Don't allow gossip to enter. Don't allow fear to lead. Don't allow doubt to sit on your throne. Feed your mind with strength, and strength will define you. Feed it with positivity, and positivity will transform your world. The one who controls the mind controls destiny. You must shield your thoughts from noise and negativity. The moment you lose command over your mind, you lose command over your life. But the moment you master your thoughts, you master everything. Build a fortress around your focus. Defend your peace. Let only power, purpose, and conviction live inside you. That is how champions think. That is how winners rise. That is how greatness begins, with a protected mind and an unshakable focus. Your direction must come from within, not from the noise around you. The moment you start living for others' approval, you surrender control of your destiny. The world is overflowing with noise voices insisting on what's right, what's wrong, what's possible, and what's not. If you listen too long, you'll forget your own truth. The loudest opinions often come from those who've never built anything, never risked failure, never walked the road you dream of. That is why the only compass capable of guiding you toward your purpose is the one within you. Your inner voice is not random. It is your truth trying to reach you, but it cannot be heard if you keep allowing the opinions of others to drown it out. The greatest mistake most people make is letting external noise determine their internal direction. They spend their entire lives trying to satisfy expectations they never agreed to, chasing goals that were never truly their own. They work jobs they despise, buy things they don't need, and pretend to be someone they're not all because they fear disappointing others. They exchange their freedom for acceptance and then wonder why they feel so empty. But there is no peace in pretending. There is no fulfillment in living someone else's vision of success. Your path must come from conviction, not from approval. What others think of you is not your concern. Their opinions cannot feed you, heal you, or build you. Only your own direction can. Every time you seek validation, you give away a piece of your power. Every time you adjust your vision to please others, you lose connection with your authentic self. The truth is, you will never experience true freedom until you stop asking for permission to be who you are. Within you lies a voice, calm, clear, powerful. It knows exactly what you are meant to do. It does not shout, it whispers. Yet the world is loud, and that is why most people never hear it. They fill their days with endless noise, opinions, trends, headlines, and distractions, and then wonder why clarity escapes them. Clarity is not born from noise. It is born from stillness. You must step away from the chaos long enough to listen to yourself. That is where direction lives. However, once you begin trusting your inner compass, you stop living reactively. You no longer move out of pressure, expectation, or fear of judgment. You move with intention. You start walking your chosen path instead of drifting through life. And that's when everything begins to align, when your actions spring from conviction, not confusion. You'll notice that people will question you. They'll doubt your decisions. They'll say you've changed, and they'll be right, you have. You've stopped living for them and started living for yourself. Remember this: opinions are cheap, and everyone has them. Most people's advice comes from their own fears, not from your potential. When someone says something can't be done, what they truly mean is they can't do it. Never let their ceiling become your sky. Their doubts are not your destiny. The moment you begin trusting your intuition more than the noise around you, you become unstoppable. The direction within you comes from experience, reflection, pain, and persistence. It is the sum of everything you have learned, endured, and overcome. It is that inner wisdom that recognizes when something feels right, even if it terrifies you, and when something feels wrong, even if the world celebrates it. That intuition within you is your most powerful guide. But like any muscle, it strengthens through use. The more you rely on it, the clearer it becomes. Following your inner direction doesn't mean you'll always know exactly what to do. It means you'll have the courage to move forward even when uncertainty exists. It means you'll trust yourself enough to make mistakes, to learn, to adapt, instead of staying frozen in fear of disapproval. True growth requires independence. You cannot evolve while still chained to the opinions of others. Ibrahim, most people never realize their full potential because they are paralyzed by what others might think. They fear criticism, rejection, and misunderstanding. But here's the truth. No matter what path you take, people will always talk. If you fail, they'll mock you. If you succeed, they'll envy you. Either way, their voices will never stop. So why allow that noise to dictate your direction? Live with boldness. Make decisions that reflect your vision, not their comfort zones. The strongest individuals are not those surrounded by applause. They're the ones who keep moving when no one understands their mission. They walk alone, guided by something far greater than approval. They understand the world owes them no validation, and they owe the world no explanation. Their direction is internal, fueled by purpose, not by praise. That is how leaders emerge. That is how legacies are created. When your direction comes from within, you stop chasing and begin creating. You stop following and start leading. You stop merely surviving and start truly living. Every decision made from your own truth reinforces your confidence. Each time you silence doubt and act anyway, your spirit grows stronger. You start to trust yourself more profoundly, and that trust becomes unshakable. You'll soon realize that once you stop seeking approval, peace naturally finds you. The opinions that once controlled you lose all their weight. You come to see that most people are too busy battling their own struggles to ever fully grasp yours. So you stop explaining. You stop defending. You stop proving. You simply act with clarity, with intention, with conviction. That is true freedom. There exists a direction designed solely for you, a path invisible to others because it was crafted for your steps alone. You won't discover it by asking for advice. You'll find it by listening inward. Trust that deep instinct that whispers, "This is right for me." Follow that voice even if the world calls you crazy. That is the voice of destiny. Your direction must rise from within, not from the shifting winds of opinion. Opinions fade quickly, but purpose endures forever. The crowd changes its mind daily, but your inner compass remains constant. When you live by the opinions of others, you dwell in confusion. When you live by your truth, you operate in power. So quiet the noise, turn inward, trust that calm, steady conviction that knows exactly where you belong. One day, when you look back, you'll see that every bold decision, every risk, every triumph came from moments when you trusted your own voice. That is where greatness begins. That is where peace lives. The world will always try to steer you, let it talk. But your direction, your destiny, your flame must forever come from within. Because when you walk your own path with conviction, the world eventually steps aside and follows your lead. Every action you take should serve your growth and your purpose. Anything that doesn't move you forward is silently pulling you backward. Life is never neutral. Every choice you make either strengthens or weakens you. Every habit you maintain either builds your future or destroys your focus. The world is overflowing with distractions disguised as opportunities, and if you don't filter your actions through the lens of purpose, you'll spend years chasing what holds no real meaning. You were not designed to live on autopilot. You were created to move with intention, to act with direction, to evolve with every step you take. The difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary is simple. The extraordinary refuse to waste energy on things that don't align with their mission. Growth is never accidental. It is a conscious process, a series of disciplined actions repeated daily under the guidance of purpose. When you truly know who you are and what you want, Your actions become precise, powerful, and unstoppable. But when purpose is absent, your energy scatters. You become busy instead of productive, moving without progress, mistaking activity for advancement. And that's how mediocrity traps people. They confuse effort with evolution. True growth doesn't come from doing more, it comes from doing what matters most. Hebrew, ask yourself every day, does this bring me closer to the person I want to become? If the answer is no, stop doing it. That's how you reclaim your power and take control of your direction. Most people know what they want, but their behavior betrays them. They talk about dreams, yet their habits serve comfort instead of destiny. They chase pleasure instead of purpose. They choose convenience over commitment. But success is built upon deliberate discomfort, the discipline to do what's necessary, not what's easy. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you win a silent victory for your future. Purpose gives meaning to every action. Without it, life becomes an endless cycle of hollow movement. You wake up, go through the motions, and wonder why fulfillment feels missing. That emptiness is the result of misalignment. You can reach temporary success without purpose, but you'll never feel complete. True fulfillment comes only when your daily actions align with your higher mission. Every great achiever lives with clarity. They know exactly what matters and ruthlessly eliminate what doesn't. They say no to 99 things so they can give their full energy to the one thing that defines their calling. That's why they move with precision, achieve faster, and stand apart from the rest. Their secret isn't luck, it's alignment. They don't allow the world to pull them in every direction. They move only where their purpose leads them. When your actions are rooted in purpose, your energy multiplies. You stop feeling exhausted and start feeling driven. Even the hardest work becomes fulfilling because you know it's building something meaningful. Purpose transforms effort into power. It turns struggle into strength and failure into feedback. You stop avoiding obstacles and start using them as fuel for progress, because now every setback carries meaning. It becomes part of the process shaping you into who you were always meant to be. You must guard your time as if your life depends on it, because in truth, it does. Every hour wasted on meaningless activity is an hour stolen from your growth. Time is your most precious currency. Spend it where it multiplies your purpose, not where it feeds your distractions. Do not pour your energy into people, habits, or things that fail to contribute to your future. You are either building your life or letting it decay through neglect. Every decision you make leads toward one of those outcomes. Many people spend their entire lives waiting for the perfect moment to begin their true journey. But the reality is that every action you take is your journey. You are shaping your destiny with each choice, each habit, and each thought. Nothing is ever small when it's tied to purpose. Reading a single page, waking up early, choosing focus over comfort, these moments may seem insignificant, but they build the foundation of greatness. Growth takes place quietly, in consistency and discipline. The world may not notice your effort now, but eventually your results will speak louder than words. To serve your personal growth, your actions must challenge you. Growth doesn't thrive in safety. It thrives in discomfort. It happens when you push past your limits, when you expect more from yourself than the world ever will. Comfort is the invisible enemy of greatness. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you sacrifice long-term fulfillment for temporary relief. But every time you choose challenge over comfort, you strengthen the mental muscle that separates the winners from the watchers. Purpose brings clarity, and clarity gives you power. When you live guided by purpose, distractions lose their hold over you. You stop seeking recognition and begin chasing mastery. You stop comparing yourself to others and start competing with your own potential. That's when transformation begins. Because when your actions align with your growth, motivation is no longer necessary. Momentum takes its place. Progress becomes its own reward. You begin to crave evolution more than comfort. Understand this truth. Life will always test your focus. The world will constantly tempt you with noise, comfort, and shortcuts. But the ones who succeed are those who never forget their why. Your purpose is your shield. It keeps you disciplined when others give up, calm when others panic, and focused when others lose direction. When you live with purpose, failure cannot destroy you, it only shapes you. Every loss turns into a lesson. Every obstacle becomes a teacher. Every moment gains meaning. Your purpose is the fire, and your actions are the fuel. Without one, the other fades. If you want to live a powerful, meaningful life, make every move intentional. Don't act just to act, act to grow. Don't work just to impress, work to progress. Everything you do should bring you closer to the person you are meant to become. Eliminate the noise. Choose habits that strengthen you, decisions that sharpen your mind, and actions that move you toward your dream. Because at the end of your life, success won't be measured by how busy you were. It will be measured by how wisely you used your time to fulfill your purpose. Every moment is an investment. Every action is a seed. Plant carefully, because what you sow today will determine the life you live tomorrow. The question is, are you planting seeds of growth or weeds of distraction? The answer to that question will determine the course of your future. Every action you take should serve your personal growth and purpose, not occasionally, not when it's easy, but always. That's how evolution happens. That's how you rise above mediocrity. That's how you turn your life into a masterpiece, one deliberate action at a time. Thinking about yourself is not selfish, it's survival. The world will tell you to give endlessly, to care for everyone, to sacrifice your peace in the name of kindness. But they rarely tell you what happens when you run out of energy, when your soul runs dry, when there's nothing left inside to give. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot lead when you've lost direction. You cannot lift others if you are broken within. The truth is, putting yourself first is not arrogance, it's strength. It's the realization that your growth, your peace, your stability, and your inner power must come first before you can truly serve anyone else. Abu, the weak will call it selfishness, but the wise know it as self-preservation. Life is a battlefield of energy. Every day you give, you fight, you decide, you endure. And if you never take time to refuel, reflect, and realign, you burn out completely. When that happens, what remains? You become exhausted, resentful, and disconnected from a life that no longer feels like your own. That's why the strongest people are not those who give the most, but those who know when to pause and rebuild themselves. The world constantly demands your attention, your job, your family, your friends, your obligations. Everyone wants a piece of your time, your focus, your heart. But if you don't set boundaries, if you never learn to say no, you'll lose yourself inside everyone else's expectations. You are not here to be everything for everyone. You are here to become the best version of yourself. And that demands focus, solitude, and self-prioritization. Remember this: you have one life, one mind, one body, and one purpose. And if you spend it endlessly worrying about others' opinions, pleasing everyone, or fixing people who won't fix themselves, you'll reach the end wondering why your own dreams never came true. Because while you were living for them, your potential remained untouched. Thinking about yourself is the act of reclaiming that potential. It's saying, my goals matter, my peace matters, my growth matters. People will call you selfish the moment you stop sacrificing yourself for their comfort. Let them talk. Their opinions will never pay your bills, build your vision, or heal your wounds. Most people feel safe when you stay small because your growth forces them to face their stagnation. They'll label your boundaries as ego, but in reality, those boundaries are your liberation. You owe no one the destruction of your peace just to be accepted. Hebrahu, self-focus is not isolation, it's preparation. When you take time to invest in yourself, to heal, to learn, to sharpen your mind, you become stronger, wiser, and more capable of helping others in a meaningful way. It's like strengthening your foundation before building higher, because only when you are solid within can you support the weight of something greater. Without that inner structure, everything you build, your relationships, your goals, your dreams, will eventually collapse. You must be deeply rooted in yourself before you can support anything else. Look around you. Most people are exhausted, anxious, and unfulfilled because they are living outwardly. They pour their energy into everything outside themselves, while neglecting the source that sustains it, all their own being. They scroll endlessly, compare constantly, and live surrounded by mental noise. They know everything about others, yet remain strangers to their own soul. That is not kindness, that is self-abandonment. You cannot live a powerful life when your energy is scattered everywhere but within. Thinking about yourself is an act of awareness. It means asking, what do I need right now to grow? What drains me? What nourishes me? It's not about ignoring others, it's about ensuring you're strong enough to face life with clarity and presence. When you begin to put yourself first, you quickly see how much energy you used to waste on things that never mattered. You stop chasing approval and start chasing alignment. You stop explaining and start expressing. You stop existing for validation and begin existing for evolution. You owe it to yourself to protect your peace, to guard your time, and to choose clarity over chaos. Every time you choose yourself, you reinforce your worth. Each time you silence guilt and act in your own best interest, you reclaim control over your destiny. The world wants you busy, distracted, and compliant because a distracted mind is easy to control. But someone who thinks for themselves, values themselves, and invests in their own growth cannot be manipulated. They become powerful, independent, and unshakable. To think about yourself is to live deliberately, to make choices based on your future, not your fears. It means saying no to things that drain your energy, walking away from people who dim your spirit, and committing to habits that sharpen your greatness. It means constructing your life around purpose rather than pressure. When you make choices that serve your growth, you'll notice how life begins to align with you. The right people and opportunities start finding their way to your path. You stop forcing life, and life begins to flow naturally with you. Remember, you are your most important project. Every other goal in your life depends on how well you nurture yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically. You cannot build a powerful future on a fragile foundation. The work you do on yourself, the discipline, the healing, the mindset is what determines how far you will rise. Thinking about yourself doesn't mean neglecting others. It means ensuring you have the strength to lift others higher. The truth is, most people never realize their greatness because they spend their lives trying to prove it to others instead of themselves. They keep giving without replenishing, pleasing without passion, helping without health. But the greatest gift you can offer the world is becoming your highest self. When you are at your best, strong, focused, clear, everything and everyone around you rises with you. So stop apologizing for choosing yourself. Stop explaining your peace. Stop feeling guilty for resting, saying no, walking away, or putting your dreams first. You are not here to live half awake just to keep others comfortable. You are here to live fully, powerfully, and intentionally. Thinking about yourself is not selfish, it's survival. Because the moment you start prioritizing your peace, your purpose, and your growth, life begins to open its doors. The right energy finds you. The right people stay. The wrong ones fade. And most importantly, you rediscover yourself, the version buried beneath years of noise, guilt, and distraction. Think about yourself first, not because you don't care about others, but because you finally understand that you are the source of everything you give. Without you, nothing flows. So protect your energy, honor your boundaries, invest in your growth, and live your truth unapologetically. In a world that constantly tries to drain you, thinking about yourself isn't selfish, it's how you survive, rise, and ultimately conquer. And remember this, the world will always pull at you, demanding pieces of your time, your focus, your heart, but never forget that everything begins and ends with you. Your mind, your peace, and your purpose are the engines of your destiny. If you lose yourself trying to please everyone, you lose the very power that makes you valuable. Thinking about yourself is not an act of selfishness, it's the foundation of strength. It's how you protect your energy, sharpen your focus, and rise above the chaos. Because when you choose yourself, you choose growth. When you honor your purpose, you attract clarity. And when you move from your truth, the world begins to move with you. So from this moment forward, live with intention, guard your vision, prioritize your evolution, Think about yourself, always not to exclude the world, but to build yourself strong enough to change it.